Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome. That, as they say, is that. Marvel Comics. Let's go ahead and get started. It is Tuesday, all you minties. That's right. It's time to take an advanced look at all of these collected editions coming out from Marvel Comics this week. So, let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to the folks at Marvel Comics for sending us advanced copies of these books. All these books are due out in the direct market and book market on March 4th or 5th, depending on where you buy your books. So what we're looking at here are some new collections of an ongoing series, a collection of something that's come out before in two smaller trades, and then, of course, new epics, and this trade paperback to commemorate the Fantastic Four movie coming out. And it is a great jumping off point for anyone trying to get into the Fantastic Four. Before going any further, please don't forget to smash that like button. That goes a long way for us here on the channel. Small thing you can do, but it does mean the world to us. Alright, Epic Collections trades. Let's go ahead and start this round with the latest, the Spectacular Spider-Man trade. Spectacular Spider-Man, Volume 2, Elementary. So, this is collecting issues 6 through 10 of the new ongoing series, Spectacular Spider-Man. This is the one that's written by Greg Weisman, who's no stranger to Spider-Man. This gives you a little bit about what happened previously. All of this penciled by Humberto Ramos, Victor Olazaba, and Humberto Ramos are the inkers, with Emilio Laizo and Andre Genole as the artists for issues 8 through 10. Edgar Delgado supplying the colors, and Joe Caramagna doing the lettering. You do have variant covers sometimes on the opposite page of the standard edition. Now, if you haven't read Volume 1, by all means, go and check that out. If not, I'm going to be talking about some spoilers that happened previously. In the previous volume, there was a huge mystery when both Miles and Peter Parker decide to go to this coffee shop and meet there, and to just talk about their life. I love that about this stories in here, that both of them just are connecting, making sure that they're meeting at the right time, at the same time, every once in a while at the coffee shop. But when they discover a dead body at Professor Warren's place, immediately that starts an investigation as to who could this be. They go and fight Metallo and the character of Arcade along some of their rogue galleries from before. But then, of course, it's this, when we're talking about Arcade and Murder World, are these really the characters of the Kingpin and Hammerhead and Mr. Negative? And who exactly was that dead body and what's going on? This is our new character, Knave, who was created for this book right here and is all part of the Murder World. We do have somebody claiming to be the Jackal. And again, is that the original Jackal, or is it the new brother that has been hanging around campus where Miles is going to school? That's what this whole mystery is about at the very beginning. Is it really Raymond, or is it his brother? So you have Raymond Warren, and then, of course, you've got the original Jackal. And whenever you're talking about Miles Warren and clones, you immediately think, okay, it's got to be a clone. But that actually gets resolved a little bit later on. So we do have another mystery that sparks up in the second part of the storyline here, where we have a new character. There is a funeral for a friend right here. And we go back to the coffee shop where we have seen the two characters hang out. We have Electro and the new Electro team up, but not before we have something interesting going on to one of our Patreons here that hangs out at the coffee shop. And what exactly is happening to Juliet Marcos? Why is her body becoming liquid? Why is it becoming fire and stone? What is going on with her? And what does it have to do with perhaps being an Inhuman or a mutant? Or maybe it's just something that she got bitten by radioactive fire? No, that can't be. Anyway, that's what the second mystery is about. And you get a lot of characters coming in here and trying to help her control her power. With a couple of nice surprises from the world of Spider-Man. This is the big Electro fight with both Electros teaming up against both of the Spider-Man, because if you're going to have two Spider-Man, men, why can't you have two Electros? Although both of them have been around for a while now. And in the back of the book is nothing, because the variant covers are sometimes on the opposite side of the standard edition cover. The book has the Spectacular Spider-Man 6 through 10. It does continue. It is an ongoing series, has 112 pages, and retails for $15.99. Fantastic Four by WAID and WIERINGO. This is the IMAGINAUTS storyline, but it is not just the IMAGINAUTS storyline. Something interesting is collected in here that I wasn't sure why exactly, because it is written by Mark Waid and it is drawn by Mike WIERINGO, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the Fantastic Four. I've gone on record that this is my favorite Fantastic Four run. The Omnibus is my favorite Fantastic Four Omnibus. Has been collected in oversized hardcovers, has been collected in trade paperbacks, complete collections. No modern era epic collections as of yet, but oh man, if you've never read this, you are in for a treat. And for me, I think this is a great starting on point for the Fantastic Four. I think that's what the purpose of this trade paperback collection is. Mark Waid, Mike WIERINGO, but also Mark Buckingham supplying the pencils, Carl Kessel, Mark Buckingham, other inkers here like Danny Mickey, Paul Mount and Mark Milla doing the colors, Richard Starkings and Albert Deschesney doing the lettering here. Introduction from 2004 by Mark Waid, talking about this run and how important it is. And we kick it off with a meeting of not supervillains talking about the Fantastic Four, but one of the greatest way to introduce the Fantastic Four to anybody that has never read the Fantastic Four. We meet this character of Scherzer right here, who gets told to go and tell a story about the Fantastic Four for marketing purposes, because they kind of feel outdated. A lot of the stories, a lot of the adventures, and just they themselves need better marketing. So I think it's a really cool introduction to a new reader about these fantastic voyages and how it's less about being superheroes and more about a family that just happens to have superpowers. By now we have Valeria. She is the second kid and she will play an important part through this, but mainly in the later parts of Mark Waid's Fantastic Four. But it does have one of my favorite Mr. Fantastic moments that within a page you understand what makes him who he is. I love this issue. I think it is a beautiful, wonderful way to start off a run of the Fantastic Four. You have the Yancey Street Gang mystery right here from years ago. But again, if you're a new reader, you get the understanding of somebody's messing with Ben Grimm. Sentient. This goes without saying. Basically, yes, there is a sentient being that has sort of a crush on Reed Richards. So it's an AI computer that has come to life and is trying to help in their own way. I love this. I love that Ben Grimm has his own seat at the movie theater. I love that him and Sue are hanging out. There's a lot of moments like this where you get to see them just enjoy being around each other. Not just Ben and Sue, but also Johnny and Ben, of course, Reed and Sue, and even the kids. Oh, it's so good. This is such an awesome run. I know I've talked about it on Old Reader, New Reader. I've talked about it on my overviews. And even on my overviews of the Omnibus, I do try to stay neutral, just telling a few stories here and there. But it does make it difficult when it happens to be your favorite run. You can't help but just show all of the emotion and joy and love that just the run brought you. So yeah, absolutely. Oh man, Johnny tries to step up, right? Sue is really tired of her brother just kind of being a loaf, just sitting around the house. So she makes him a big part of the Fantastic Four, like the business side of things. And a couple of the decisions that he makes, well, that will have ramifications, of course. So it's not the whole run, right? It's only issues 60 through 66 in here, 208 pages, $24.99. But what is also collected in here, for some interesting reason, is the giant size issue 400 of the Avengers. Now, to a lot of people that have read this, they probably read it because of the Onslaught crossover, the Onslaught Omnibus. Part of that is collected in there, but not the whole thing. We we have a time traveler story first. We have this character named Typhon, who has come from the future to warn Jarvis and all the Avengers that they are about to die on this day when they are attacked. So we do have a lot of characters that come back, a lot of the supervillains. And this is all after the crossing, and they're getting ready to go to another big event. And that event, of course, is Onslaught. As a matter of fact, the last page in here is that of X-Man coming to recruit them to go and fight whoever this Onslaught creature is. But it's in a Fantastic Four collection, and I don't know if they couldn't probably collect the Doom story, so they decided to show, hey, here's an extra story of what else Mark Waid and Mike Wieringo worked on at Marvel at some point. And then we have extras right here. The sketches and drawings, and of course the covers. This, I believe, is for the Inhumans covers. It's a connecting cover. The Wizard Ace edition of Fantastic Four 48. And then this collection right here of Fantastic Four versus Galactus. So this is really a great introduction to the characters. And maybe because people will pick it up because of the movie, is why they decided to include a little extra in here of Avengers 400. Maybe that will get people hooked. But that is Fantastic Four Imaginauts. Thunderbolts, Winter Soldiers. Sure, we got a new title for this run right here. This is the Jim Zub run with John Malin. It has been previously collected before in a series of 2 trade paperbacks. There's no High Road and no Going Back. This, honestly, is an interesting collection. It does take place, I've done a reading order of Thunderbolts if you want to go back and watch it. This does take place after Thunderbolts Red, but really after the Avengers Standoff collection. If you read that, like the team gets formed there. The character of Kobik is introduced through those pages. So you have Justice Like Lightning Thunderbolts here, and you have Jim Zub writing the story, John Malin, Sean Izakse, and then Matt Yaki right here. We do have a little bit of Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley making a return here, along with a popular character. But I can't show you those pages because it is a big spoiler and I don't want to ruin anything for anyone. I just want to kind of give you an idea of what this is like. So you have Winter Soldier recruiting characters of Moonstone, Mach-X, Fixer, and Atlas. So original Thunderbolts, not a big cast, but also Bucky Barnes now in the events after the Avengers Standoff. We have Kobik right here, who's a 40-year-old little girl, but not really. What it is she's the Cosmic Cube. And the Cosmic Cube has put a bunch of other cosmic cubes together to make this little girl. So reality warping powers, you bet your bottom dollar. I can't believe I just said bottom dollar. What the hell is wrong with me? But yes, that's exactly what she can do. So she is part of the team, even though Bucky's like, hell no, she's not part of the team. She's still a kid. So they are together to get a new headquarters, and they go on missions. Mainly the missions during this time are espionage missions against S.H.I.E.L.D., or what they think this evil part of S.H.I.E.L.D. is. This is all 12 issues collected in here, 280 pages, and it retails for $34.99. Now, I will say, this, by the way, has parental advisory, and that's mainly due to the violence. I will say, the ending will feel like it doesn't really wrap up. And that's because after this, the story actually continues. And I don't want to spoil what happens, but I know that when people read this for the first time, oh, this is the fight against the new Inhumans. So we do have an all-new Inhumans team being led by Crystal. But this is Flint. Oh, there we go. Gorgon's back. Naha and Grid fighting the new Thunderbolts, if you will. And they'll also fight the Squadron Supreme, but not the same Squadron Supreme that were in Jonathan Hickman's or the original Squadron Supreme, for that matter. This is a completely different team from a different Earth of the Squadron Supreme. Bucky, Winter Soldier, sorry, I keep calling him Bucky, goes on a mission against Spider-Man. So this is like putting him and Captain America at odds. He ends up getting captured, and these are the fill-in issues right here that were not drawn by John Malin. And then eventually they will get the help of other characters. This takes place during Nick Spencer's run of Captain America, and something big happens in that run. There was an event that does tie in heavily with this. So when I said that this doesn't really end, it does continue, and I'll just say in the pages of Captain America to see the whole story. The outcome of what is the last 3 issues, really. They end up getting the help of Songbird eventually, so she does play a big part towards the last half of the book. Plus, like I said, Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley doing this little story, bringing back a character that will play another big part in the last 3 or 4 issues of the book. And, oh yes, the return of the Masters of Evil here. So you've got characters like Tiger Shark and Bulldozer, Thunderball, Claw, and of course the Wrecker and Whiplash up there. But that's all I will say about it, and let's look at the extras. It's definitely, at least to me, one of those underrated Thunderbolts era. I love that homage cover right there. Nobody really talks about this era, but it's a lot of fun. I liked it more than I did the Thunderbolts Red. I thought it was a really fun era throwback here to our lovely Jolt, and then some original artwork here from John Malin from different issues. 280 pages, $34.99. And we have reached the part of the video where we look at all of the spines coming out this week from Marvel Comics. And also a small reminder to please smash that like button. It goes a long way for us here on the channel. All right, let's keep going with the overviews. All right, Astonishing X-Men Modern Era Epic Collection, Volume 2, Unstoppable. So we are looking at the last part of Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men. And this right here collects issues of Astonishing X-Men 13 through 24, plus the giant size Astonishing X-Men number 1. So we're looking at the era of 2000 and I want to say 2006 to 8 maybe? Yeah, 2006 to 8. Here's the sketch variant, and then of course the cover right here. So collecting issues 13 through 24, $39.99. 344 pages. I'm just going to go ahead and say spoilers because I do have to talk a little bit about this book and what's going on through these pages. So in the first arc, we did have a return of a character, and that is, of course, Colossus. Now, Colossus and Kitty Pryde have reunited, and they're bonding again, and to me, it was just a beautiful moment. And now we have Wolverine training a new set of kids. This is, of course, the kids that were introduced through the pages of some of them, not all of them, but through the pages of New X-Men, and then, of course, Grant Morrison's New X-Men. This is a character known as Armor, who would become kind of like his new Kate Pryde, his new Rogue, his new Jubilee, somebody that he takes under his wing, like as he does with all these young girls as a father figure. Speaking of fathers, this is, oh my gosh, awful, awful moment here, where Kate is finally happy, laying on the chest of her returned love, Peter. And who comes to see her? None other than her father, but it is just a nightmare, and he is making her feel guilty. Why did you let us die? And of course, that goes back to what happened in Genosha and that massacre. Then we have the beginning of the new Harold and Kenny Omar Talk Pretty One Day, the Hellfire Club. So you've got the character of course, the Black King, Sebastian Shaw. You've got Cassandra Nova making a return. Of course, she was a big player in the last story arc. You've got the Negasonic Teenage Warhead girl right here, Ellie Phimister, I think is her name. And of course, she looks a lot different in the movies, the Deadpool movies. You've got this cloaked figure right here, known as Perfection, and you'll find out who that is later on. And then, of course, they are trying to see if the character of Emma Frost is going to join them. And we're looking at Agent Brand here with Sword. So they're the ones that are set up in space, and they will play a big part through the last story arc in here. So the first story arc in this collection is the return of the Hellfire Club. There's going to be some changes through here. Cyclops, for example, will learn to control his powers a little bit more. Agent Brand is going to be summoned to this other world, if you will, this other planet. And then is, of course, Breakworld. Breakworld is where the character, the first villain that they fought in the first collection is from. And Orb was trying to... What ends up happening is that there's this prophecy. A prophecy of one of the X-Men is going to destroy their world. And you find out exactly who that is here. The Hellfire Club has this amazing scene right here. I believe it's in issue 18. It is a throwback as they're getting beaten. Yes, right here. Where Kate Pryde is thrown into these tunnels. And she turns around and says, now it's my turn. Man, I love that. Oh, that's so good. And I'm sorry, it was issue 15. So yes, a throwback to Wolverine. So what's going on in the space station? What is going on up in Sword? Well, their prisoner has gotten loose, is what ended up happening. So in here, you're going to see the character of Ord leave and team up with none other than Danger, the character from the second story arc in here. And together they're going to try to get the X-Men to perhaps help them, and that is their own way of asking. I will say Break World is a interesting story because I didn't expect that's where the last arc to take place, but the X-Men are going to go there, and of course they're going to help, and of course there's going to be sacrifices, and it's got some of the most badass moments of X-Men history to me. It's got one of the best Cyclops moments, and if you're at all a fan of Cyclops, oh my gosh. And if you're not a fan of Cyclops, this might make you think twice about, well, maybe Cyclops is kind of badass. That's why this book gets my seal of approval. I love everything about this book. All of this, by the way, I forgot to give credits. Joss Whedon, of course, writing the story. John Cassaday doing the phenomenal artwork. Laura Martin doing the colors. And then Chris Alepolis doing the lettering. And there are beautiful moments in here. It's not just reunions, but also just throwbacks to classic moments of X-Men. Not just that homage from Uncanny X-Men 132 where Wolverine's like, my turn, and now it's Kate Pryde. There's a few throwbacks in here. Just, if you haven't read it, I am so jealous that you get to read it for the first time. And then, of course, the ultimate sacrifice that is made towards the end, and you can find out how that ends. I will say, you're looking at here, 2006 to 2008. That's 2 years. Why aren't there 24 issues collected in here? There were some delays. Lots of delays. So much so that at that time it was Matt Fraction writing the stories of Uncanny. He just had to go on and tell his story because the editors were like, eventually Joss is going to come back and write this, and John Cassaday is going to finish drawing it. But you go on and tell your story. So it works better as a collection, honestly. You don't have to wait monthly for these comics to come out and delay after delay. You know what's going to happen, and I think it does work better like this in this format. And it's been released in omnibus format. It's been released in 2 oversized hardcovers. It's been released in complete collections. I think it was an Ultimate collection that it was released in. And then, of course, now in Modern Era Epic. And the big question is, will this continue in Volume 3? Absolutely. There's still enough room for Warren Ellis's run. There's the Marjorie Liu run. And Greg Pak I think he has one story arc in the Astonishing X-Men line. Oh, yes, but you are in for a treat. But the fight between Cyclops and the Power Lord, what's his name? Kroon? Oh, dude. And then, of course, the return of Lockheed, which is also so awesome to see again in X-Men comics. All the way in the back, we've got some of the variant covers collected back here. And then some in between issues. And there's Kate right there. These are the ones that are done by John Cassaday. And then ads for other Modern Era Epic collections. But that is Astonishing X-Men Volume 2. Unstoppable, 344 pages, and $39.99. Last but certainly not least this week is the Fantastic Four Epic Collection Volume 11. We're looking at 1978 to 1980, and the four are no more. Right. But anyway, this is collecting issues 192 to 214 and annuals 12 and 13. 520 pages, $49.99. Marv Wolfman, of course, writing a majority of this, but you also have Bill Mantlo and Len Wein. You have Keith Pollard and John Byrne making his run here. Well, not really his run start, but just a little bit of his artwork. Sal Buscema, George Perez doing some of the early stuff here. And then you have Joe Sinat, Pablo Marcos, and Bob Wyzek doing some of the inking and lettering by John Costanza and Joe Rosen, Jim Novak, and Glennis Wynn. And coloring by Glennis Wynn and Francois Malou, being Sean. And coloring by Glennis Ween and Francois, God damn it, and coloring by Glennis Ween and Francois Malo and Janice Cohen and Carl Gafford, just to name a few of the people. You have the Texas Twister making his appearance here, but the return of Wyatt Wingfoot. So this Fantastic Four at the very beginning of this story, or this collection, have been separated. They are four no more. So yes, Johnny is fighting the Texas Twister by himself and reunited again with Wyatt. And then you've got Ben fighting an old friend, Darkoth, right here. This is the character that got turned into this demon by Dr. Doom. And at first he's showing up. This honestly feels like a Marvel team-up type of book, but it's him showing up. And at first, you see that there's a fight, but then you see this backups, like flashback story between him and Ben and the way they used to be. You have the fight against Diablo, so it's both him and Ben perhaps trying to fight Diablo. And it's just a really pulling at the heartstrings type of story that I wasn't expecting for a demon-looking character like Darkoth. And then you have Sue here, and she's left alone again. Because the four have again been separated, and she is with Namor. Now, the Retrievers are coming for Namor to take him back to Atlantis, whether he wants to or not. They will do whatever it takes because he needs. He's got business there, if you will. Then we have this new character called the Invisible Man, who's able to take down the Fantastic Four. And of course, there's twists and turns with the reveal as to who that character could be. But the big twist and turn comes with the return of none other than not the Red Ghost, but Dr. Doom. So this all leads up to issue 200. We have the introduction of Zorba, this character right here, who is the leader of the Latverian freedom fighters. So Latveria is standing up for itself. It's no longer just going to stand there and let the dictatorship of Doom just take over. And again, all of this will be taking place all the way in issue 200, when we see that Dr. Doom has a son. Now, of course, there's a little bit of a twist with the son and his powers and who exactly he is and how he came to be. But the big fight is between Reed Richards and that of Dr. Doom. And it's quite an awesome fight. Marv Wolfman, of course, writing a majority of this. And do you see the true face of Dr. Doom? The Fantastic Four have to fight the Freedom Plaza, or the Freedom Tower. And then we have Iron Man attacking the Fantastic Four here, but really someone else is pulling those strings, and could it be that Quasimodo character in the cover? And, oh yes, this kid that can summon these evil Fantastic Four characters here. And now the Fantastic Four have to go and fight them. We have the annual right here with Thraxon the Schemer and the fight against the Inhumans. But one other important fight takes place here, and that is that with the Sphinx. So the Sphinx, again, a Marv Wolfman character from the pages of Nova, will play a big part in the story towards the end here, where the Fantastic Four are aging. That's right, the Fantastic Four are aging. We have the return of the Mole Man with a vengeance, getting rid of cities, and then we have this huge story arc where this Fantastic Four gets separated again. So they've come together from the very beginning, right? Like they're doing their own thing, and now they're separated again. What the heck? This is the character of Honora. She has come seeking help because her homeworld is being destroyed or captured by these Skrull creatures. So we're familiar with those guys. And sure enough, the Fantastic Four will go and help. Now, Johnny will stay here because he's got his eye on this young lady, but that young lady might have something to do with this guy named the Monocle. That's right. It's never that easy for the Fantastic Four. Look at this. This is so awesome. We have the Nova Corps trying to help out. So it's this gigantic galactic battle that's taken place. And eventually, the Fantastic Four go to trial, and this is where they get zapped. And they get zapped by this aging gun. The aging gun will play a big part in the stories to come. So what is this aging gun gonna do to them? Well, we gotta see what Johnny Storm is doing first with his fight against the Monocle, while the Fantastic Four are now with the Sphinx. So it is a return of the Sphinx, along with other characters from the pages of Nova, that will lead into a big fight. So yeah, you've got characters like Diamondback here, or Diamond Head, not Diamondback. Sorry. And eventually you do get John Byrne drawing the issues in here. So you've got John Byrne doing the layouts, but this actually is his first issue, if I'm not mistaken, with the introduction of Herbie the Robot. That's right. From the cartoon comes Herbie the Robot, but he's not all he's cracked out to be. And John Byrne coming in, supplying the pencils, supplying the layouts, Joe Sinnott doing the finishes. And again, the Fantastic Four now are caught in this fight between Galactus and the Sphinx, and they're aging. Well, all of them but Johnny. We have the first appearance of Terrax. We need a new herald for Galactus if he is to make a return. So this cover here that you see will be the last issue that is collected in here after this huge fight between the Sphinx and Galactus, Devourer of Planets. So yes, right here, issue 214. Marv Wolfman, again, doing the scripts and edits here. And John Byrne doing the pencils. Joe Sinnott doing the finishes. Will the Fantastic Four ever get to the right age? Well, one way for you to find out, right? And let's look at the extras, because we do have some treasure editions. We've got original art right here. House ads. And then reprinting Fantastic Four 120 to 123. This is the Treasury edition. Original art and pinup pages. And Herbie the Robot blueprints. And other house ads. 520 pages, $49.99. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor,
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
And that was the content and page count of each of these books. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up, which ones you had no idea were coming back out, and of course, which ones you would love to see someday collected in a bigger format. Any questions, leave those down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.